Hi, my name is Jo Galloway and I'm a director of the film Shame.
Hi there, my name is Azania Manonyane and I play the uncle.
Hi, my name is Phiwe Ngqangweni and I'm the production assistant as well as the assistant to the director.
And so much more. She's so much more than that. She's also directing in her own right. Don't leave that out in real life. Okay. Well, we were very excited when Cecil first brought us this project. And he had a poem that he had written and he wanted us to do something magical and creative with it. So we wanted to incorporate the skills of the Waterfront Theatre School using our dancers, our very talented dancers, and actors and singers and everything else. And we created Shame, the film. And it's being screened at the South African Film Festival in Canada and North America. And this film is a fundraiser for Education Without Borders, who supports education in underprivileged schools in South Africa. Yeah. So we are incredibly proud to be a little tiny cog in that wheel of helping our communities.
Yeah.
I think this film is incredibly important. I think that there's not enough transparency with gender-based violence. And I think that the more that we can give the victims and survivors a voice through art it's incredibly important, it's incredibly special. And for us to be privileged enough to have taken on this project and be able to give those survivors and victims a voice and hopefully show the world, this is something we need to deal with as a community and and change some cultural issues that we have as well.
Just to add on a little bit onto that, I just would like to quote John Mark Green, who said, awareness is the door in which change enters. And I felt that is important because in our lesser communities, topics around such heavy things like gender-based violence are suppressed within homes based on cultural and traditional settings and environments that we are raised in. So again, not having the transparency to voice these things out there. And another quote would be Jasmine, I forget her name now, for surname, but it was also said that, we should scream so that little girls or girls 100 years from now are not wondering where their power and their voice had gone from.
Yeah, I think in homes as well, it is a norm for men specifically to be superior in the household. So because of that, they aren't, females or youngest kids don't feel that they're able to voice out anything because it's considered normal to, I guess, give in to whatever it is that they're told to do within the home.
Is it like a respect thing?
Yeah.
Yes, but it's less respect and more just how it's been. Like, I don't even think it's about respect. I think it's an old tradition, an outdated one, where just men are superior within the household, whether your father, your brother, your uncle. So that gives men some kind of entitlement to you and unfortunately your body. And because of that, they don't feel that they can voice out.
So do you think they do you think they think it's wrong or do they think they're entitled to do it?
The men?
Yeah.
They know it's wrong. I think to a certain degree they feel they can justify it because of their role within the family.
Yeah.
But they do know. They know it's wrong, and I think it's unfortunate because they have the support of the community in some way, shape or form. I think it's not actively said or said out loud that this is what they're doing behind closed doors. Yes. But there is that kind of support that, well, he's the father or he is the male,
the provider
figure exactly within the family, or So
that's then the entitlement that's where the entitlement comes from.
So it becomes kind of a skewed perspective.
A skewed perspective, and it's just an overuse of power, And
I think that's true for any community where there is a male dominant side to it, where there is an abuse of power. I mean, we can look at it across the board. We can look at what happens in the States, in the UK, anywhere, where if there is a man who is in a powerful position, they can take advantage of anyone who is not in such a powerful position.
Exactly.
And that's why I think this is not only a subject that is prevalent in South Africa, although we do have one of the highest rape cases or stats in the world. But I think it crosses over for everyone. every race, every country, every color, every creed. It's all of that, and it's a conversation that needs to be had worldwide.
Yeah.
And the spotlight needs to be shone on it. And if we can do that from South Africa, where we have such a high statistic of it, and we can start that real push forward, I think that is incredibly important. And I'm very proud to be a part of something that is going to hopefully shout loud enough for the children and the girls in the future to hear and go,
we do have power.
We do have power.
In our voices, yeah. I think the other thing would be the amount of resources and help. Again, talking about the community supporting these sort of old-fashioned traditions, is that we do not have the right amount of resources, or just resources in general, in those type of communities. And so they're, again, just being swallowed by whatever they know. It's a lack of education, it's the circumstances. And so I think all we have really is sometimes, if there are people who advocate for such things, or resources or clinics or whatever, they would go and visit those less fortunate places, rather than there be something built in those places where there can be education around gender-based violence. This is okay, this is not okay. The education about that, you are able to speak about it, and this is the process.
Do you think like your generation is more aware of the fact that this is not okay anymore?
Definitely.
Yes, definitely. I think it's also then the social media aspect of our generation, and I think, which is again why this project is so amazing, is that we've taken that platform and put something on there, because that's exactly what we're being consumed by. And normally people will enter and look at, they'll stop scrolling to escape the realism of the world.
Yeah.
But now we're using this form of like the dancing and the acting aspects of it. We're grabbing the attention with the entertainment of it.
Which what resonates with them now.
Exactly what resonates with them now. But now we're pushing forward something. We just can't be silent anymore. Silence is violence.
Silence is violence, yeah. And I think, I know when I was starting this project and we were having conversations about it, and really trying to not just make it a film about dance, it had to be supporting the narrative of what we were saying. So really understanding why each routine or each choreographed moment was so important. Starting from kind of the soccer, which is so very kind of, it's something that happens all the time.
Yeah. Especially in those communities. That's like that's how we, like, the camaraderie is built. That's what brings us together. That's how we connect. Yeah. And
it's like, and then from there into like the Amapiano, which is a very South African. I don't know enough about Amapiano. Okay, I'll pretend to know about Amapiano, but I should.
But we all know Tyler. We all know Tyler.
And
yes. that has been blowing up, and that's something that is really a proudly South African sound. So these are the ways we incorporated this into this project.
Yeah. And then of course there's the Firetown as well, which I did a musical many years ago where I had to dance to the Firetown Jive, and I just love it. I love Firetown. It's so much fun to do. And it's also very proudly South African.
Very proudly South African.
So we kind of started off with like this, wanting to almost mislead the audience into like, it's fun, it's like community, it's a vibe, it's jiving, it's cool, before we got into kind of the more, the gravitas of the topic. And then the character of Shame, where you never see his face, I think is such an important metaphor, because shame doesn't have a face.
Yeah.
Shame doesn't have a color. Shame doesn't have any of that you can identify and say that it's everyone's own shame that they carry, however they're feeling and in what they've done, or whatever they're spiraling in. It's their own interpretation of shame. So it is an emotion. So it's interesting to try and find a way to perform that on screen as an emotion, really.
Really.
And then put it into a physical kind of thing that follows someone around.
It's this high time that, the shame around such heinous crimes doesn't sit with the victims.
Yeah.
It should be on all of us, the silent, the ones who are bystanders of any kind. It was just really such a powerful tool to have it just like become personalized in a character. Shame becomes a character and an emotion in it. Just the ballet again would then show an aspect of the lack of resources in communities, because
of the HIV.
Because of the HIV and the parents dying from HIV, and these are sort of the things that people in those communities undergo, and everyone with power and with the resources overlooks these things. So yeah, that's very important and such a lovely
Totally.
thing to highlight. Yeah.
I also like because I know that when we were choreographing the assault scene, which is a very difficult thing to do because you wanted to reference what's going on, but keep it palatable.
Yeah.
And I think you and Phiwe did an incredible job
Yeah.
because it's not an easy thing to do with the emotion that's attached to it.
Yeah.
And I was also saying when we were going through all of this and doing the backstory and we were talking about it in the rehearsals, I don't know any one of my friends or in my community that haven't experienced some sort of gender-based violence, from even just if it's just sexual harassment all the way to the other end of the spectrum. And it's something that hits very close to home, especially also at the college, because we deal with so many students that come to us and they're dealing with this in the communities that they come from. And so that's why it was such a important project for us to do as a school as well, to really do something instead of just sitting and trying to listen to the stories and going, well, what do we do? This is something practical that we could do that could move this forward in a more positive way.
Yeah.
I think the current state, it's difficult because there's been so many stats, and you see these like stories every single day. And I don't think that having conversations about it is taboo anymore. Like, I don't think it's weird to have these kind of conversations. I think it is painful, and I think it's ridiculous the amount of people that have gone through it and are continuing to go through it. The conversations are very painful to have, but I think they are happening, and a lot of people are speaking, which I think is great, because like, silence is violence, and unfortunately if no one says anything about it, there's nothing that can be done. So I think these conversations have been happening and they're continuing to grow platforms, and I think shame and doing shame is a great opportunity to again make it bigger and scream.
Scream. Yeah. I mean, even the stats that I saw in the news was, I mean, in 3 months, recently 3 months, there was about over 12,000 cases, open cases of gender-based violence. It's like insane, over 12,000. And it's obviously taken too long for things to be done about it. And this was our little way of just giving light to such a thing.
Yeah.
And of course, we have to thank some very, very special humans who made this project happen.
Indeed.
Trilogy Creative Studios, first of all. My goodness gracious, this would not have happened without you guys. All of you were just so on board from the very, very beginning, and they created a world that we could play in. I mean, the set deck and everything was, we had nothing, we had rooms, that's all we had, and they just turned it into something phenomenal. So they were all just incredible humans, and we're very grateful. Of course, you've got to be thankful to Cecil and Education Without Borders for bringing us this project in the first place. It's such a gift to be a part of this. So thank you. And of course, we have to thank Astrid Sherman and the Pro Arte Centre dancers who started this whole project off. So we have just picked up and carried the baton further. And we have to thank Dario's in Hot Bay, the coffee shop. Give us all lunch as well. Best coffee if you ever come to Cape Town. Got to come to Hot Bay and come and do that. And then the workshop, which was our institution. It was a bar in Hot Bay that we used to love, and it has now since closed, but we got to do one last hurrah by using that as the location. So lots and lots of love to all these magical humans that have made this happen. We hope you enjoy the movie.